So we just go through very quickly, drawing our goat out onto our watercolour paper or acrylic paper or anything, as long as it's got a bit of weight to it. So if you remember from last week, we draw a rectangle. Divide it in half and then into quarters with a line down the middle. Chop off, oops, it's a bit too steep. Chop off the top corners and down halfway and chop off the corners in the second section. Third section, just a parallel line down, and then we'll make the, that's not a very straight line, is it, that one? You come in to do the chin. I always seem to get my central line a bit wobbly. Eyes are just under that first line, nice and big. Hello, just going through drawing the goat again, like we did last week. The nose is just like that square with the corners chopped off from the nose. The mouth is halfway through that bottom quarter. Ears halfway along that first diagonal to that halfway, well, about level with the eye. Remember to try and get it all on your page if you can, and then put your other ear in. And the horns on that first corner, curling backwards. Second horn. And then we take a line from around the eye. I think I've made my goat a bit longer in the face this week. Bringing it round to show the muzzle area, bringing it round to the nose, and then you can just round that chin a little bit. And we've got the basic of our goat drawn again. And we can rub out our construction lines. You got your sheets with you from last week? Yep. Great. So we're just drawing out the goat. We're doing it really exactly the same we did last week. We're using the same colours, same sort of scale, but we're going to use acrylics this time. So there's our goat. So, colours that we're going to use are same as last time. We're going to use an orange, dark brown, black and white. So if you haven't got any orange, I've found a little bit of a random tube. So you don't need much because we started with the eyes, and it's always a good idea to start with the eyes. So, this is a bit hard, this orange. Should be alright if anybody wants to borrow that. It's about had it, so there's some there. And we just want a tiny amount of dark brown. So our dark brown, our burnt umber. Oh, this is going a bit funny as well. It's these cheap paints that get donated. Want a small brush, small fine brush, with down to do our eyes. The same brushes as last week, unless you've got a set that you keep just for your acrylics. If you are using your brushes that you used last week that you use for watercolours, do make sure you give them a good old wash out at the end and work those hairs into the bar of soap to get as much out, or to get everything out. Yes. You can't find yours. The picture of the goat, or the which one you after? Yes. Right. That one? Yes, thank you. And that one? Yeah.
Oh, did you? I forgot. I thought you rubbed mine out.
You're not that far ahead, are you? You haven't done your eyes yet.
Rose, could I use some orange? Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes. As I say, I don't know what it's going to be like. We'll get some orange. If you haven't got orange, I was saying you can mix orange with yellow and red. Yellow and red.
What was the other colour? Burnt umber or...
Burnt umber, a nice dark brown.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a...
I think I've
this
got
is
raw
all
rubber,
going.
but it's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, that will do. You can do some of that kicking about if you want. So, I'll say these, I don't know what these are going to be like because they look like they've gone a bit hard. In fact, that looks fine. Ooh. We might get something out of it. Don't know, it might not be usable.
Just a little round brush, isn't it?
Round brush, yeah. So, yeah. We'll see how this goes. If not, we'll just have to mix some red and yellow. So acrylics are a bit more forgiving. See, if we do it too big or too small, we can add extra paint. We can paint over the acrylics. I don't think this is... Well, let's try it anyway. So, we're going to paint the eyes first of all. Add a little bit of water to it. So this has gone very thick and lumpy, this paint, this orange paint.
Me, of course.
Paint the eyes in, paint them round. And if you're doing watercolour, it's the same. So it's the same as we did last week. We paint in the orange. We used a little bit more browny last week. We used the burnt sienna. That brush isn't very good actually, it's a bit too soft.
Just looks evil.
Well, so give it a good wash out. I will wash that with soap. I'm not going to use that one again because it's too soft. If your brush is too soft and it's not holding the paint very well, that's probably why. So I'm going to use a flat one, which is a little bit stiffer, this one. So burnt umber, dark brown, and just like we did last week, we're just going to darken a little bit at the top of the eyeball, just a bit dark. craggy, but we'll be able to sort that out. So we put that little bit of brown at the top, that little bit of shadow there. And then I'm going to put some white out. We see you don't want to put loads out. We are going to use quite a bit of white and quite a bit of black, but acrylic, once it's dry, that's it. So get some out of here. There we go. Just put a bit out at the moment. We're not doing a huge picture, so we're not going to use masses of paint. And I'll put some black out as well. And by doing that, I seem to have managed to get myself covered in paint already. Right, so I'm going to take a little bit of the white. We only want a little bit on the brush. And just want to lighten up underneath that eye. So if your orange is still a bit tacky, hopefully you can just blend it in, blend this white in so it doesn't sit too stark. So it's quite subtle, the lighter areas. So when we did the watercolour, we lifted out the lightness, if you remember, last week. With acrylic we can't do that, looks like he's crying this one, but we'll sort out that edge. So you still have your bit of tissue here that you can just dry off your brush. So we're going to add the nose in, so we'll go in with the black and we'll put this, again, this sort of heart-shaped nose in. And the same as we did with the watercolour last week. Obviously the paint doesn't flow like watercolour does. A bit of water to it, but we don't want to add too much. So we've got the orange in first.
Yeah.
Then we went in with the dark brown, so the burnt umber.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit at the top, and then the lighter, the white, just blended in at the bottom. So we've just got a very subtle bit of shade in there, just like we did with the watercolours last week.
I don't have a burnt umber, should I just add a bit of black?
Yeah.
Burnt sienna.
Yeah, that's a good idea, just to darken it down. And we only want a little tiny bit mixed up. So I'll just add a little bit of black while I've got it in my brush around his mouth, around here. But again, just keep looking at your picture, referring to that. Build up a bit of the black around the nose. With this flat brush, I always think flat brushes work nice with acrylics. You can just feather it a little bit. Nice thing about acrylic acrylics as well, as you can do one bit, you can move over to the next. With watercolours you have to plan it quite, you know, it's no use doing everything in the foreground and then trying to do the background. And we don't, obviously colours will run into each other if we're doing watercolour, so we do have to wait and let things dry. But with acrylics we often work with them a little bit wet on the paper so we can blend them in. So I'm going to use my rigger brush again because we've got fine lines to put around our eye. So we are going to use our rigger brush. Don't leave it in your water, or it will get bent up. But again, load it, a bit of water with your acrylic so that it will coat the whole of the brush. So it's a little bit thinner so that we can put this edge around the eye. Again, just like we did last week with our watercolour. A nice steady hand. Don't cough when you're in the middle of doing this. So you can just get that shape a bit rounder if you've gone off a little bit and gone over the edge with your acrylic. And we can put the pupil in. Don't forget the pupils are round in this goat's eyes. Tidy this eye up a bit because it's gone a bit rough around the edge. It's quite nice to do the same subject in two different mediums, as you can decide which one you prefer. I mean, we did the cats and dogs. A lot of you did the same one in watercolour and acrylic. Probably got that pupil a little bit bigger than this one, so I'm just going to over back in. Make this one a bit bigger. We want the same sort of size. We've got the hair coming down in that corner of that eyeball. Brush a good wash out. So we can come to the ears now. Last week we remember we painted the black, leaving the white of the paper of the for the hair on the ear, the white hair. We can start off the same way, but we will go back in with white paint. But we'll do that when it's all dry. But we can paint that inner ear. And we can just again be a little bit nose and the eyes in, it begins to take form, doesn't it? It actually becomes alive. We'll get this done a bit quicker than the watercolour, but we know how to draw a goat there, so we've got that. Well, it's a bit long in the face. It's a different breed, this one. Get to put the rest of the body in. Right, leave that there to dry a bit, and then we'll come back and do the horns.